Hello everyone, my name is Nisar and we will be learning Unit 1 of your wonderful paper on AI tools in research. I welcome you all to this course. This course, as we all know, is made up of 4 units and I will be teaching the first unit. The first unit is mostly about what AI is, how it is developed, and also how is it going to help us in research and other day-to-day activities. So I teach in the Department of Data Science in the St. Xavier's College, and I think we are on a wonderful journey ahead. I welcome you all to session number 1, what is AI? In this session, mostly we will be discussing the difference between a human intelligence and a machine intelligence. And since I know that there are 4 different departments audience is there, English, psychology, physics and economics, I'll try to bring in some examples from each department in almost every class. So let's start with the first question. Have you already met AI today? Of course, some of you might be having the exam, so you might be using ChatGPT, or you might be given an assignment, so you might be using Claude to copy. But I'm not talking about that. I'm talking about a simple idea that when you were typing a mail or a message, the Google search, the Google keyboard search or Apple keyboard search recommended the next words. Sometimes it also finished the entire sentence before we typed it. Spotify, if you listen to it today, I did. It picked the perfect song for me, for the perfect mood. Google Translate, I was talking with Gemini today and it translated the language. I was talking with it in English and suddenly I switched to Gujarati and it also understood that I am talking in Gujarati, and that's also an AI. So mid conversation, it switched the language. And Siri, I am not that rich, but some of you are who uses Apple phones. So Siri, answering a spoken question is also an AI. Where was the AI in your morning? The big idea is that AI isn't a futuristic term. Okay, many people label AI as a futuristic term. In fact, it is a present term. It is already sitting quietly inside all the tools that we use every day, and today we name what it's actually doing. So what makes you intelligent first? Since the session is on human intelligence versus artificial intelligence, what makes you intelligent and not just fast? Of course, a calculator can solve an equation faster than you could ever do it, but hand it a problem it has never seen before. And if you word it strangely with no clean formula, it will be stuck. Most of the cases, we aren't. What is the difference? Let me give you a very clear example of this statement, that if I ask calculator what is 5 plus 3, it will immediately tell me 8. But if I ask calculator a question that there are 5 apples and 3 bananas, how many total fruits I have? So of course 8 fruits, but you are able to see this. But calculator will not even understand what is an apple, what is a banana, what are we supposed to do in this AND operation. It will never know that, but you are. So we are little bit more intelligent, actually quite a lot more intelligent. We might not be that fast, but we are quite a lot intelligent from a lot of machines. So let me talk about 5 things that human intelligence involves. The first thing is something called perception. Perception is making sense of what I see, what I hear, what I feel. That's called perception. Somewhere in literature, this is also known as awareness. I'm aware about what I'm seeing. I'm aware about what I'm listening to. I'm aware about what I'm feeling. I have a sense of perception. Okay. In this process, nowadays, whatever AI models we have, they are able to see a few things. They are able to also hear a few things. You can talk to ChatGPT like I am talking with you. So, but feeling is still much farther away problem. Do we even want to solve it or not is not a well-defined idea. But seeing and hearing is something that AI has started doing nowadays. But this is something that makes a human intelligent. I am able to see a pen here, and I am also able to perceive that if I leave it from here, I can draw a logical conclusion next. If I leave it from here, I can draw a logical conclusion next that this pen will fall down. That's the logical conclusion. That's called reasoning. That's again something that I have that makes me intelligent. You have that makes you intelligent. Third is learning. How do we define learning? We define learning by getting better at something through experience. For a funny example, if you appear for the exam in semester 1 and you don't score well, you fail, you can give the exam of semester 1 again until you score very well. That's getting better at something through experience. But this experience took actually my friend to do the 10th standard 20 times. Not a good experience. Okay, not a good learning. Joking. But learning is getting better at something through experience. Again, uniquely human. I drive the bicycle, get better and better at driving the bicycle, eventually capable of driving a bicycle without using my hands on the handle. That's getting better at something through experience. Creativity is something, again, something that makes human intelligent, which is combining ideas. Creativity, the way we define it right now, is combining ideas in a new original ways. For friends of English, if you have heard, and you must have heard about the Hamlet, okay? So if a Vishal Bhardwaj is there in India and he interprets the Hamlet in a very wonderful, creative way and makes Hyder, that's something called creativity. Last one is emotional and social understanding. We all have it. We read the context, we read the tone, we read the intention. If someone says the same thing in different tones, we are able to distinguish. And these are the 5 things that makes a human an intelligent machine. We are not machine, but human, an intelligent being. So intelligent is not one skill. It is actually 5 abilities which are working together. And that's exactly why copying it in a machine is really, really difficult. Okay. So what do we do? If you couldn't tell a machine's answer from a human's answer, would you call it intelligent? That's the way around that people found earlier. I'm talking about around 1950s. There was a mathematician. His name was Alan Turing. I'm not sure if all of you have seen a film of Benedict Cumberbatch called The Imitation Game. It is based on the life of Alan Turing. But this same person, Alan Turing, said that let me have a room, a wall. Okay. On one side of the wall, I have an expert. On the other side of the wall, I have a person, or in second case, this is an expert. In second case, there could be a computer on the other side. My drawing is good. So Alan Turing said that if I cannot tell a machine's answer from a human's, that means there is a wall. So expert asks some question and the reply comes from the other side. Now, if expert is not able to say or distinguish whether the answer came from a human or from a computer, that means we can say computer is responding as good as a human is. This test is called Turing test. This is the first attempt in thinking how can we make computers intelligent. So if I am not a human person really, and I am using a HeyGen AI, which is a AI which can make the similar kind of video, can you tell the difference? If you can, then AI is not yet intelligent. If you cannot, then AI is intelligent. So if we cannot tell a machine's answer from a human's answer, we can call it intelligent. And this was something that Alan Turing had as a first question. And this Turing test is a benchmark from a few years on the world of computer science. Okay, so Turing test was a benchmark. Whenever a computer is to be judged whether it is intelligent or not, we do a Turing test and we used to get the results. Now, in the last 6-7 years, the ChatGPT and all their friends are much more capable, so it's very difficult to tell whether it is AI or whether it is human. But again, the question is that if a judge chats with both a person and machine and can't reliably tell which one is whom, then is the machine thinking or just performing really well? This is a question I want you to keep with you, that if the response comes as not able to not distinguishable, then is the machine really thinking or it is just performing really well? And we'll discuss this in around 6th or 7th lecture. Next idea is, so what is an artificial intelligence? So artificial intelligence is science of building machines that can perform tasks which normally requires human intelligence, like recognizing patterns, understanding language, and making decisions. This is called artificial intelligence. For an example, there are some nuances. So for an example, ChatGPT is able to recognize the patterns, is able to understand my language, and is also able to make some decisions. So for an example, there is a Claude which has a feature called Cover. It will be making decisions on its own. If you give it a folder of your computer which is messy, when you give it, it will be able to tidy up the entire folder on its own by taking its own decisions if you allow it to do so. So AI is able to do these things now to some extent. But there are some nuances. They do not think the way we do. Okay, it does not have belief, it does not have any feeling. What it does instead, it is just uses statistics in the background. It finds statistical patterns in huge data sets faster than any human. So for an example, I would give all the books of the world to ChatGPT, all the books of economics or all the books of psychology, and then it might appear that the ChatGPT understands psychology or economics, but it will never be able to actually understand it. It has just found out the statistical patterns inside those books, and that's why it is able to reply much faster than humans using those patterns. So it is going to produce an intelligent intelligent looking output, but that is coming from a pattern matching alone. Okay, it is just coming from pattern matching. So big idea is AI doesn't think like us. Whenever someone says AI thinks like you, no, AI does not think like us. It just does some statistics in the backend. It finds the patterns in the used data fast enough that output looks like understanding even when it is not. Again, I will expand on this idea in around 6th or 7th session when we talk about how ChatGPT is made in detail or how ChatGPT replies in detail. So we'll discuss about that. Let's compare human thinking and machine thinking. So human learns very well from a very few examples, while machine needs massive amount of data. In your childhood, if you were shown a few cats, 4 to 5 cats, then you can identify almost all the cats later on in your life. But machine needs a few hundred or few thousand cats images minimum. Human gets tired, we need rest, we need sleep. We understand the context, emotion and sarcasm. The same word used differently, as the famous scene of Rajkumar Hirani's PK. The word acha can be interpreted or pronounced in lot of different ways, and you still can interpret what the person wants to say, so we can understand the context. Okay, suppose you are given the data that you have a few person who are very well qualified on a particular topic, then you might ask a question from where they have studied, from what they have done, and you can find more patterns from the data given. Okay, you can use common sense beyond the data given. You can make creative unexpected leaps. By creative, again, I mean joining a few things in such a way or interpreting a few things in such a way that no one ever has done it before. But machine needs massive amount of data. It runs continuously, so no fatigue. It detects the statistical patterns. It does not understand the meaning. So when I have a pen here, it might say that this is a pen, but it does not understand what a pen is or how a pen feels in the hand. It never understands that right now, at least. It struggles outside its training data. So whatever data you're given, if suppose you have given it the data of cat and dog, and then you show it a picture of crocodile, then it will be confused what to label it. Is it a cat or is it a dog? Because it cannot make a pattern. But it will still say that crocodile is one of them, either a cat or a dog. Okay, but we have the common sense beyond the data given that it does not look like any of them. Machine remixes the existing patterns at huge scale. Okay, so it can remix, and this exact idea of remixing existing patterns is the heart of image generation and video generation and audio generation using AI. It seems it is creative, but what is it doing in the backend is just remixing the existing statistical patterns and generating a result. Okay, so that's the idea. That's machine thinking. I hope you understood the difference. Machine is not thinking like, the whole point is machine is not thinking like the way you think or I. There are 5 core goals of AI that we generally try to achieve. The first one is reasoning. We want it to solve the problem step by step. The second one is learning. We want it to improve its performance from the data over time. Okay, so for an example, if you want a AI that can invest for you in stock market, then it needs to learn from the data again and again that this investment will give me a profit and this investment will give me a loss. Perception, we want it to interpret images, sound and sensor data. Then especially sensor data for physics. Okay, so there are lots of experiments that are being done in CERN or other large hadron collider models where you have lots and lots of sensors and you want machines to interpret the pattern. Language, we want of course the machines to understand and generate human language. This generating human language is something that is achieved now through something called large language models, LLMs. For an example, ChatGPT is a large language model. Okay, we'll understand exactly how this works in some other class, but it is able to generate human language. And next, last one is action, where it can actually be a robot and it can act in a physical or digital world. These are the 5 core goals of AI. We want it to reason, we want it to learn, we want it to perceive, we want it to learn the language, generate the language, and we want it to do some real actions in real physical world. So whatever AI tool we meet this semester, it will be doing one of them. Most of the research tools are doing reasoning. They can also perceive things. They can also generate the language. Okay, and they can learn from the past data. Most of the tools are not robotics, so they do not do any action. Okay, so AI is already there in your discipline for English. NLP is something called natural language processing. In short, NLP. Why is it called natural language? So computer thinks in ones and zeros. You must have heard about it. Okay, whether you are from whatever background, computer thinks in ones and zeros. Then this idea that instead of ones and zeros, I wanted to understand apple, Apple is my natural language. English, Gujarati, Hindi, Tamil, Telugu, Malayalam, all of them, Marathi, all of them are natural languages. So these natural language processing tools can mine the themes. It can summarize centuries of literature for us, for English people. For psychology, the machine learning models spot the behavior patterns in a lot of data. For an example, Instagram works exactly on spotting these behavior patterns to recommend you a new reel. Okay, so their machine learning works. So you are not at fault when you are scrolling infinitely. It is the machine learning model which is so powerful that has understood your behavioral patterns in such a way that you are not able to get rid of it. Physics, of course, computer vision reads the collision images, satellite data, and also a lot of sensor data in a lot of real life explanations. AI can forecast the trends from decades of economic data. Stock market investing is also possible using AI. So a lot of things are already there in the discipline of economics as well. So English, psychology, physics, and economics, you are already using AI in your field in research. You might not be using it, but people who are doing good research in your field are already using AI to contribute a lot of things. So this unit will have further discussion on computer vision, natural language processing. Computer vision means looking like a machine. So giving a machine some vision, that's called a computer vision. Okay. So we will be learning computer vision here. We will be learning natural language processing. We will also be learning little bit of robotics. We will also be learning LLM, and we will also get hands-on with NotebookLM, Scite, Consensus, Elicit, and ResearchRabbit like tools. Before lecture 2, I request you to read the reading material, attempt the quiz, and we will be meeting in the next lecture. I see you all. If you have any questions, you can reach out to me on this email ID, nisarg.vyas@sxca.edu.in. Have a good